Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about some optimizations that you can do for your gaming handhelds, and we're going to use the Onexplayer X1 Mini with the 8840U, and this will work with the regular X1, and it should work with basically any other handheld that you're using for most part for these tips, but we're going to use this device today. So when you first get your handheld, some things that you want to do is go into your startup apps and start to just turn off different things. And as you start to install more things, there might be more things you want to come back here and turn off. If you're going to use different apps in here, then leave them on. If you're going to not use them, then turn them off. And it'll say if it's a low impact or of a high impact, what kind of impact it is on it. You can see OneDrive is a high impact. So if you're not going to use OneDrive to sync files between your devices, because you're just using this for a gaming handheld, then turn it off. And so those are things that are going to help you right away when you get on that startup. The next thing you really want to look at is the Windows features. And so how you get into this is right in this bottom search bar here, you're going to type in Windows feature, and it's going to pop up this little box. And you're going to scroll down here, and you're going to make sure that virtual machine platform is turned off. Now, if you're using this virtual machine platform, then don't turn it off. But if you aren't using it, like most people don't use it, turn that off, hit OK. If it asks to reset, reset it. The next thing we're going to look at is core isolation. So you can find core isolation again by searching in the bottom search bar here. You're going to type in core isolation and just under memory integrity, turn it off. And if you want to keep it on, then you can keep it on. This is just a way to speed up your computer a little bit more for gaming. So if you want to turn that off, you'll probably have to restart again, but that'll give you an opportunity to get some more gains on your device. The next thing you want to do is go into the AMD Adrenaline application and just check for updates. And you do that by clicking on this little setting bar over here. And you can just check to see if there's any sort of update for your drivers. You can see that right now from this date, I'm at 24.7.1. And you can also go on to AMD's website and you can find your driver for the 8840U, and you can do it that way too if it hasn't pushed the official driver to the application yet. So that is an option. The next thing you can do is go into display settings, and under display settings you can turn on rotation lock. And this is going to make it so that when you turn the device, it's not going to flip the screen. So if you're in game and you accidentally tilt it, it's not going to flip your game screen and make it all wonky, and then you have to flip it back. If you're in the middle of a boss fight or something, that can be pretty annoying. So rotation lock, you want to turn that on if you don't want it flipping on you. Now the next thing we can do is right click on the taskbar here, and we're going to click taskbar settings. And on this, you can turn off Copilot, you can turn off your widgets. Those are things that like have the weather and news and things like that. Like turn all that off to just help speed up your device again, because it's not running all these things behind the scenes. So next you can go into the Windows Store, and in here there's a little arrow here for downloads and updates, and you can hit update all or get updates, or you can just pick and select which things you want to update. So if you're using like Game Pass or something like that, you can go in and just update the applications for those things. Another thing you can do in the Microsoft Store is just type in FX Sound, and this is going to give you an option for a free application. This is going to boost your volume on your device, so it'll give you a more powerful sound. It's literally like a double the audio boost, and you can make sure that this is turned on in your startup apps so that it automatically pops on every time you log in, but that's going to be a way that you can boost your sound as well if you feel like it's not loud enough on the device as it is. Alright, the next thing you can do is type in Windows Update, and in here you can check for updates. The other thing you can also do is go into Advanced Options, and in Advanced Options there's sometimes optional updates. So you might have something in here like Intel Core Bluetooth, so download and install, and then that'll add to your list of things to install. So those are some opportunities to potentially get some better drivers, or not, but you can always roll back if you don't like something that you've just installed. So that'll keep you updated on the latest for your Windows device. So let's go through just removing some different programs that you really don't need on this device. If you just click on this little window right here, it's going to bring up your start bar, and there's a whole bunch of different applications on there like LinkedIn, Spotify, things like that. All you have to do is right click it, uninstall it, and that'll get rid of some extra bloat on your computer. And when you're in add and remove programs, there's probably some things in here that you really don't need. So just take a look at that. Like again, the mobile device thing is something that you probably don't need. I've really cleaned mine out quite a bit. So like Cortana, if I don't want Cortana, I can uninstall that. If I don't want the Family Corp, I can uninstall that. There's just certain things that you can uninstall in here to just help free out the bloat in your device. Now in the Onexplayer Console, you want to download the system overlay, so that'll give you all the pop-ups for the battery and the GPU and CPU, and these are good indicators for within your games. If you see that the GPU is getting close to 100% or the CPU is getting close to 100%, then you know if the game is GPU bound or if it's CPU bound. And if it's GPU bound, you can go ahead and turn the CPU turbo boost here off. If it's CPU bound, then you want to make sure the turbo boost is on. And that's going to push a little bit more to your CPU to give you that extra boost for those games. So again, you want to look to see which one, the CPU or the GPU, is closer to 100. That's how you're going to tell if it's a CPU bound or a GPU bound. And then if it's CPU bound, you want to leave this on. If it's GPU bound, you want to leave this off. If you want to change your resolution, sometimes there's nothing here, and that's okay. Sometimes we just need to update the Onexplayer Console, and that will fix it. I know there's been a few glitches that have made those go away where you don't have different options for the display, so we'll fix that here right away. Overlay is important. You can turn it off or on. If you want to go into a deeper setting for it, you can just hit the Y button, and that will give you a couple more options if you want to change it to in-game only, if you want to change it to like a vertical window or horizontal like I had it. But when you do have it on, you can also actually change the transparency level down here too. So if you want it a little bit lighter on your screen, you can change that as well. But when you have it on, you can actually just push your finger and move it to where you want it on your screen. So it doesn't need to stay exactly up here. You can move it to the middle, you can move it down below, and you can do the same thing with the other display configurations. So if you want to do it with the vertical window, you can do the same thing where you've got it off on the side and you can push your finger and move it wherever you want to move it. All right, now let's get into the actual Onexplayer Console application. And in here is where you're going to be able to change like your VRAM and things like that. That's also where you're going to be able to adjust your macro buttons. So these are your buttons right here for the back. So if you want to change it to something, you can go ahead and adjust that. You just have to click on it, and then you can select a keyboard or gamepad, whatever option you want. So if you want to program it to a certain key, you can program to a certain key on the keyboard, however you want to map that. And if you just set it to apply preset, then it should just stay on your device. If you load it to the default controller, these are the things that are always going to be as default. And if you're wondering why I have B and control, it's actually for PlayStation Play. So that's the stream on my PS5 to this. And those two buttons will give me the touchpad, and that will give me the PS button for the back. So those are just two ways that I've used this to program and make it work better with my applications. All right, so top corner here, you're going to want to sign in, and the sign-in process is really easy. It's just enter your email address. They send you a code in the email, and then you enter in the code and you're logged in. There's no other process to it. It's really easy like that. So we're going to check for updates, and we want to make sure they're on the newest version. Also, advanced settings here, we're going to check our GPU RAM settings. I have mine at 12 gigs. It's a 32 gig model. So you can go up to 16 if you really want to. It's probably not needed to go to 16. If you're on a 64, you could go up to 32. I can't imagine any game that's going to use 32 with the X1 Mini or the regular X1. But if you want to do it, you can do it. So once you set that, you'll back out. And if you're not sure if it's set, just back out again and make sure. So if you want to go in, just adjust it. Okay, and then press X to set it. Then when you go back, you can see that it's adjusted. But you need to restart your computer in order for it to take effect. Okay, and you can see that it stayed. Now to get out of here, you can just click this button right here and it'll minimize it back into the tray. Alright, now I mentioned the resolution piece and how we only have the 1600 showing right now. So how we're going to fix that is right in the Discord in the X1 Mini AMD 8840U, we've got pins in here, and in there is an edid.reg registry file, and we're going to continue to download it, and you can open it or you can save it, but I already have it. We're just going to run it. Yes, run it. Okay, now I'm going to restart, and then we'll see if it has taken effect in the Onexplayer Console application. Okay, it's restarted, and now you can see if I click on display, we have everything already there, so you can make your adjustments accordingly. If we want to switch down to 1200p, we can go back, and we can switch it back to 1600p. So that's going to be how you're going to fix that issue. If you do have the different resolutions not showing up, but you only have 1600p popping up. So again, that's how we're going to change that. So I'll leave a link to the Discord, and that's going to be another tool in your tool belt to make sure that you have any troubleshooting needs. You can send it in there. You can ask me. I have no problem answering any of your questions. I definitely read all the comments, so if this helped you, let me know that as well. Alright, let's say that you don't want to use the overlay from the Onexplayer X1 console, but you still want to see the FPS in your game. So something you can do is go into Steam settings and then in-game, and then right here there's an in-game FPS counter. So you can turn that on, and if you want it on the top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right, you can change that. If you want it to be like a high color green, then you can turn this on, and then that'll put it to a green. Otherwise it'll be default like a white gray. That's going to be it for today. Thanks everybody for watching. Take care, and until the next one.